In this video, we look at the diplomatic and strategic mind of India's Prime Minister, Narendra Modi. Around the world, Modi is a leader who is admired by many and feared by some. He is known for having a very high level of strategic and diplomatic intelligence. In international relations, leaders often use quiet diplomacy. However, Modi often chooses a different path. He uses direct, visible and strong actions on the global stage. He stands his ground against global superpowers, reshapes major international alliances, and protects his country's interests with great focus. In this video, we examine 19 major moves that show his unique approach to global politics and his sharp international strategy. Before we begin, if you want to see more content like this, please do not forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. 1. The G7 Handshake with Donald Trump. In 2019, the G7 summit took place in France. At that time, US President Donald Trump wanted to mediate the historic conflict between India and Pakistan over Kashmir. India had always maintained that Kashmir is a bilateral issue. This means no third party should get involved. During a live press conference, Modi sat next to Trump. He spoke clearly in Hindi. He said that India and Pakistan have many bilateral issues and they do not want to trouble any other country. Then, Modi smiled and firmly slapped Trump's hand in a friendly but dominant way. Trump laughed and said that Modi actually speaks great English. This move effectively closed the door on US mediation without causing a diplomatic crisis. 2. Defying Washington on Russian oil. In 2022, the war in Ukraine started. The United States and Western nations placed heavy economic sanctions on Russia. They pressured India to stop buying oil from Moscow. Modi refused to follow these demands. He stated that his first duty was to the citizens of India. India needed affordable energy to keep inflation low. The Indian government told the West that Europe was buying more Russian energy in one afternoon than India buying in a whole month. India continued to buy discounted Russian oil. They even refined it and sold it back to European markets. This move protected India's economy and showed that New Delhi would not take orders from Washington. 3. The industrial condition for Elon Musk. Elon Musk wanted to bring Tesla electric cars into the Indian market. However, Musk wanted to build these cars in his gigafactory in China and import them into India. He asked the Indian government for lower import taxes. Modi's government gave a very clear and firm answer. They said Tesla could not sell cars made in China inside India. If Musk wanted to sell cars in the Indian public, he had to build a factory inside India. He had to hire Indian workers and source Indian parts. This move showed that India would not let its large markets be used without gaining local jobs and technology. Eventually, Musk had to change his strategy and look for investment opportunities inside India. 4. Direct words to Vladimir Putin in Samarkand, 2022. During the Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit in Uzbekistan, Modi met his Russian President Vladimir Putin. The world media was watching the meeting closely. Modi looked directly at Putin and said a famous sentence. "I know that today's era is not an era of war." He urged Putin to move toward peace and diplomacy. It is very rare for a close ally of Russia to criticize its military actions openly on television. Putin had to come acknowledge Modi's concern and explain this position. This move showed the world that India acts independently even when dealing with long-term defense partners. 5. The balanced diplomatic visits to Moscow and Kyiv, 2024. In 2024, Modi made a high-profile visit to Moscow. He met with Vladimir Putin and shared a warm embrace with him. Western leaders criticized his visit because they wanted to isolate Russia globally. However, just a few weeks later, Modi took a train to Kyiv, Ukraine. He met with President Volodymyr Zelensky and hugged him as well. This was a carefully calculated move. By visiting both capitals, Modi demonstrated absolute strategic neutrality. He showed that India cannot be blocked by Western opinions, nor it is a puppet of Russian policy. He positioned India as a rare nation that can talk to both sides of a major war. 6. Rejecting India's Belt and Road Initiative. China's President Xi Jinping created a massive global infrastructure project called the Belt and Road Initiative, BRI. Almost all developing countries joined this project to get investment. However, one part of this project, the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, passes through Kashmir, which India claims as its own territory. Modi decided that India could not join the BRI. He stood alone among many Asian leaders. He argued that international projects must respect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of nations. By refusing to sign, India slowed down China's plans for complete economic dominance in the South Asian region. 7. Slowing down China's expansion strategy in BRICS, 2023. In 2023, the BRICS summit was held in South Africa. China wanted to explain the group very quickly. Beijing wanted to add many countries that were friendly to China. The goal was to turn BRICS into a strong anti-Western coalition. Modi did not agree with the rapid expansion. He did not want BRICS to become a tool for Chinese foreign policy. He put his foot down and demanded clear rules and criteria for any new member. Because BRICS operates by consensus, China had to accept India's terms. The expansion was controlled and India kept its balanced position between the West and the global South. 8. Walking away from the RCEP trade deal, 2019. The Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, RCEP, was meant to be the biggest free trade agreement in the world. It included China, Japan, Australia, and many Southeast Asian countries. India was a part of the negotiations for years. At the final moment in 2019, when the agreement was ready to be signed, Modi walked away from the table. He stated that the deal did not protect the interests of poor Indian farmers and local businesses. He knew that the deal would allow cheap Chinese manufactured goods to flood the Indian market. This move shocked the international community but protected India's domestic economy. 9. The cold reception for Justin Trudeau at the G20, 2023. In September 2023, India hosted the G20 summit in New Delhi. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau attended the event. Relations between India and Canada were already bad because India accused Canada of ignoring Sikh separatist groups on Canadian soil. During the summit, Modi's body language towards Trudeau was very cold. During their brief bilateral meeting, Modi did not offer a warm welcome. Instead, he raised serious concerns about anti-India activities in Canada. The meeting lasted only a few minutes. This public display showed that India would prioritize national security over polite diplomatic protocols. 10. The diplomatic ultimatum to Canada. Shortly after the G20 summit, Justin Trudeau stood up in the Canadian Parliament. He accused the Indian government of being involved in the killing of Sikh separatist leader in British Columbia. Modi's government reacted with a very strong counter-strategy. India rejected the claims completely. Then Modi gave Canada a strict deadline. India ordered Canada to remove 41 of its diplomats from New Delhi. India threatened to take away their diplomatic immunity if they stayed. Canada had to obey and withdraw its diplomats. This was a major event as a developing country forced a member of the G7 group to back down in a diplomatic standoff. 11. Using Foreign Minister Jaishankar as a shield. Modi selected S. Jaishankar, a highly experienced former diplomat, as India's External Affairs Minister. Jaishankar has become a key tool in Modi's foreign policy. Whenever Western journalists or politicians criticize India, Jaishankar responds with a sharp and direct argument. For example, when Europe criticized India for buying Russian oil, Jaishankar stated, "Europe has to grow out of the mindset that Europe's problems are the world's problems, but the world's problems are not Europe's problems." This communication strategy allows Modi to remain calm and presidential, while his minister defends the nation's interests aggressively. 12. The Maldives tourist shift via social media, 2024. In early 2024, a new president came to power in the Maldives. He had a strong pro-China policy. Some ministers in his government posted insulting comments online about India and Modi. Modi did not make an official speech or launch a political attack. Instead, he visited Lakshadweep, a beautiful but quiet group of Indian islands near the Maldives. He posted pictures of himself walking on the white beaches and snorkeling in the clear water. He encouraged Indians to visit local destinations. Instantly, millions of Indians cancelled their vacations to the Maldives. The Maldives economy, which depends heavily on Indian tourists, suffered a major blow. The Maldivian government had to suspend the ministers, and the president later visited India to repair economic relations. Visiting the Frontlines in Leh during the Chinese crisis, 2020. In 2020, Chinese and Indian soldiers had a violent clash in the Galwan Valley. This is a high-altitude border area. Many soldiers lost their lives. The situation was very intense and many feared full-scale war between two nuclear-armed nations. During the crisis, Modi made an announced visit to military base in Leh Ladakh. He stood among the soldiers, visited the injured in the hospital and delivered a powerful speech. He stated that the age of expansionism is over. He did not name China directly, but the message was completely clear. This move boosted the morale of the army and signaled to Beijing that India would not retreat from the border. 15. The Buzz event in Australia, 2023. In 2023, Modi visited Australia. He addressed a massive stadium filled with thousands of Indian Australians in Sydney. The Prime Minister of Australia, Anthony Albanese, was also on the stage. When Albanese saw the massive cheering crowd and the high energy in the stadium, he took the microphone. He looked at Modi and said, "Narendra Modi is the boss." He even compared Modi's popularity to the famous American rock star Bruce Springsteen. Modi used the power of the global Indian diaspora to show host nations that he has immense political support worldwide. 16. Power dynamics with UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. For nearly 2 centuries, Great Britain ruled over India as a colony. In recent years, India's economy grew rapidly and surpassed the economy of the United Kingdom. When Rishi Sunak, the first British Prime Minister of Indian descent, arrived in New Delhi for the G20 summit, Modi handled the situation with specific care. His body language during their meetings was dominant and confident. He welcomed Sunak warmly, but treated him as a junior partner in global economic affairs. This moment carried great symbolic meaning for the Indian public. It showed how much the global balance of power has shifted. 17. Creating consensus for the G20 Delhi Declaration, 2023. Before the 2023 G20 summit in New Delhi, many experts believed that the event would fail. The United States and European nations wanted a joint statement that condemned Russia harshly for the war. Russia and China refused to sign any text that criticized Moscow. Without a joint statement, the summit would end in a disaster. Modi used his diplomatic connections to find a solution. He worked closely with other developing countries like Brazil, Indonesia, and South Africa. He wrote the text to focus on human development, economic growth, and global stability, while softening the language about the war. The West realized they could not insulate India. They agreed to the text. Modi announced a complete consensus on the very first day of the summit, which was a major victory for Indian diplomacy. 18. Breaking protocol for Saudi Prince Mohammed bin Salman, 2019. In international diplomacy, there are strict rules about who greets a visiting leader. Usually, a prime minister meets a foreign guest at the official residence, not at the airport. However, when Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman arrived in India in 2019, Modi broke an official protocol. He drove to the airport himself and met the prince at the steps of his plane with a large hug. This was a smart strategic move. Historically, Saudi Arabia was the closest financial ally of Pakistan. By building a close, personal friendship with the Crown Prince, Modi secured billions of dollars in Saudi investments for India. This move effectively separated Saudi Arabia from Pakistan's political influence. 19. The dominant handshake and body language. Many political analysts have studied Modi's physical interactions with other global leaders. He has a unique way of shaking hands. He often grasps the other person's hand very firmly with both of his hands. Then, he pulls them closer to him while looking directly into their eyes. From Germany's Angela Merkel to France's Emmanuel Macron, many leaders have experienced this dominant physical style. He uses this body language to show equality and strength. He ensures that he never looks like a subordinate leader when he stands next to the leaders of the world's richest nations. In this video, we examined 19 major events that show the strategic and diplomatic intelligence of Narendra Modi. If you want to see more videos like this, please do not forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Please share your thoughts with us in the comments below. Thank you for watching and see you in another video.